we have these conversations, who will initiate these conversations? Because we seem to be saying we have this problem, we have identified it, and loads of people have come up and said these are the problems we have. But right now we're still just documenting problems. We're not sorting them out.
Yeah, Mary, it's not easy to just come out and tell people that you are bisexual and start talking about your activities. Or, guys, I'm bisexual. At the moment, I'm dating a man. I want to have those conversations and feel safe and talk about what I'm doing, what's going on in my life, and the challenges that I'm facing health-wise. Oh, guys, I'm pregnant to this guy, but I want to be able to talk about those kind of issues, but it's not easy because the space is not safe. You can actually feel the hate that people have on bisexual when that topic is brought up. But what I know is most people hide that identity.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, is that a lot of people are now refusing to even identify as being bisexual. But eventually they get found out. And then we go back to the issue of violence, because the person did not have the option. So how do we break that cycle? How do we stop all of this? To say this has to stop. How do those discussions start?
I think we need to have more of we used to have a lot of focus group discussions.
Yes, we did.
That we don't have anymore, where we used to talk about identities. And you can see that there's a younger generation that is coming in.
True.
That
will tell you, I mean a little boy. But in the streets, we are actually meeting people, and when they come to the community, they're all dressed up like butch and macho and stuff. But when you meet them in the street, they're all ladies, and they are very feminine, and they're actually in a relationship with a man. And maybe they might not probably identify as bisexual, but we want to know sometimes, we want people to be comfortable. I want also to be accepted and be comfortable and have my relationships. If I'm having my relationships, if I have my challenges, I come and talk about my challenges as they are. Kanandine is sick. I want to come and talk about my sick yangu. But you know what? I'm dating this woman and I'm also dating this guy.
But and then you can get the medical attention that all three of you might need.
Yes.
But don't you think for a minute that we have bred our own monster?
What do you mean by that?
It's our fault, because it is us that is making these assumptions. Listen, there are societal issues that they have out there, but within the community, we seem to have created our own problems, our own set of stigma, our own set of discrimination. Like you're saying, bisexual people are not accepted within this community.
Yes.
So
we need to keep on. I think we need to keep on talking about it, and just to show there's nothing wrong with being bisexual. I don't know. I've told people so many times that I'm bisexual, and I'm very comfortable with it. I don't find anything wrong. We should always try and keep on talking about it and making the spaces comfortable for people to accept that they can be bisexual and be accepted in the community. But if it's not there, when even as leaders, we are trying to paint the wrong picture. Because sometimes it also starts with us grown-ups and leaders to show that there is nothing wrong with this. But if everyone is saying, this is not acceptable, or this is wrong, or, and even when we find even the service providers looking at it as if it's wrong to be bisexual. You have to choose what you want. You have to choose who you are. How do you choose who you are? We were born like that. It's not like a choice that you just wake up and say, I'm bisexual. Oh, I can today just stop being bisexual.
Yeah.
So I think we need to carry on having those conversations.
And how do we tackle the issue of the women that have become isolated because being bisexual, they've now become pregnant, they've had children, and for them it's now the shame of the pregnancy, the shame of having the child, and they then isolate. So now they were part of this huge community that was so supportive, and now they have become mothers. They are still lesbian or bisexual, but they are now alone. How do we now continue to reach out to now these women that have taken themselves into isolation based on shame of having had a child?
Yeah, sometimes you just stop coming because you don't feel safe and you don't feel accepted. And I know of other women who have even lived in double standard lives where they even hide that they have children.
Yes.
Because they just want to fit in and be accepted. And also, what are the programs that are there within those spaces that focus on bisexual people? Because we've got children.
Would the women come?
Yes.
Because now it's specific.
It's specific. I can't bring my child here, say, into a space that is not very, very safe space for even my child. So what are other programs that are there that when I come there, I get the services or the help that I need? And also, sometimes I just don't tell people that I'm bisexual. I surprise them because they don't accept it. So I just say, boom,
You know?
because that's what people want. People don't want the truth. I think
there has been some issues around because it was always the misunderstanding. So I think a lot of the time the bisexual people actually just automatically thought that people don't like them, whereas it was just trying to find out. You ask stupid questions, you say offensive things without knowing, but it's also just trying to find out. So maybe I think also making that information available to people, I think also can stop the cycle of hate, violence, isolation, mental health issues. I just think we just need to start having these conversations all over again.
Yeah.
We can start like how we started, under the trees.
Yes.
We just sat in the park, just sat and had this
Discussions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you're right, and I think also as bisexual people, we also need to do our part as well in the movement. Sometimes you can just sit back and complain and do nothing about it. But if you're happy and you're bisexual and they identify as bisexual, sometimes we also need to go out there and just flaunt our bisexuality and just be happy with who we are and raise our flag.
healthy.
Yes.
So you just go out there, you flaunt and say, I'm HIV positive. Because you're healthy. So you're positive about that. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, nice chat, love.